morning, everyone, and welcome. This is Joe Scarice, co-founder and co-host of the Creative Bird Strategy House here on Clubhouse. Now, every Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, providing education, networking, and strategy. We'll get started here in just a few minutes. We'll start inviting some people in. We're live on YouTube and Facebook right now, and then we obviously dive into all the other social media buckets that are out there that our good friend Mr. Yardell Perkins puts together. So I'm just going to thumb some people in here and get some invites, and then we'll catch up on the market. We'll catch up on just things in general. A lot of announcements being made. So it's going into season 2 of the Creative Bird Strategies podcast. I'm pretty excited about this. My name is Joe Scarice. I'm a senior loan analyst at Lenmark Capital, and I'm here every Sunday now, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, coming up with a different subject of discussion, hopefully to bring relevance to something that's going on in your market. So I'm just doing a quick invite to people as well. We can start here in just a few minutes. Here, 1 second here. Let's start here. All right. So let's thank our sponsors first. Of course, love to thank Mr. Yardell Perkins of PerkTech, providing insight and social media strategy in our podcast every weekend. He's just a true social media architect to real estate professionals throughout the country. I'd like to thank MB Capital, where I'm a unsecured business line of credit referral program coordinator, where I provide unsecured business lines for clients throughout the country. I'd like to thank Ms. Linda Pelagas of Realty 411. I'd like to thank her because she provides a national publication for real estate professionals and investors throughout the country, as well as national events. And I'd like to thank Lenmark Capital, where I'm a nationwide asset-based lender providing DSCR, fixed-to-rent, fixed-to-flip, new construction, multifamily, and mixed-use options and programs, and a white label product program for aspiring brokers and correspondents that like to lend money out for clients as well throughout the country, nationwide. And our discussion today, emerging real estate investor trends 2025. What is your next real estate acquisition move? I think that it's a good timing. We had some great responses on the poll on LinkedIn. We had some great responses just from the article that I posted in regards to that. But first, let's get caught up on the market. Market has been extremely bullish and a little flat right now on rates. Rates have been the 10-year, 30-year fixed loan has been hovering around that 7.03 rate, just around there, going a little up and down, nothing too crazy. On the commercial rate, we've been hovering around that 6.375. 6.5. So rates are coming in just shy of the 30-year conventional on the regulated side. On the non-QM side, we're a little shy of 7%. We're probably in the high sixes for a single family through 4 family. 5 through 20, we're probably somewhere between 7 and 8%, depending on the circumstances. And I did put something out there yesterday where a lot of people had thoughts of where they think rates would be in 2025. Seeing the market so bullish, and I don't see inflation going away. We're going to be somewhere in that 6 to 7 range for quite a while. I don't think we're going to be seeing 5s. I mean, maybe the best we would see in a dip if something came up, maybe 5.75. But I think it's a very interesting market right now. A lot of reports came out good. And again, I guess some of the transparency of some of these reports will be very analyzed now with the new cabinet coming in and Elon and Vivek and Trump and everything going on there. It's going to be very interesting to see how this all evolves going into the new year. We're about 30 days away from our new president-elect, and we'll see where this all goes economically. But right now, I mean, just yesterday alone, we probably saw about 6 or 7 term sheets go out, pricing DSCR loans out, fixed to rent, a lot of fixed to rent. A lot of discussions on that yesterday alone. That's a Saturday. I'm putting out 7 or 8 term sheets in regards to fixed to rent. I'm really excited about that. I'm seeing a lot of people coming off the sidelines, realizing it's time to play landlord. And then some other information I saw here that caught my eye. Some housing forecasts. Expected house prices are expected to increase a little bit in the next year, low to mid single digits. Everyone expects pretty multifamily starts to stay depressed in 2025. I'd stay in that 5 through 20 sweet spot, small bounce, multifamily. Stay away from the commercial presence or mixed use presence. Everyone expects both new and existing homes to increase in 2025, although existing home sales are expected to remain in the low 4 million range. I'm starting to see more new construction inquiry. It'll be interesting to see where that goes. I'm seeing a lot of flippers and rehabbers looking at land now to identify, opportunities for themselves because they're kind of running out of housing stock. Another interesting article that caught my eye this morning: families must spend 38% of their income on house payments. So the appeal of home ownership versus rental is really waning right now, based on insurance, based on buying on a property. There's a lot of moving parts. You're seeing a heavy amount of migration on rentals coming throughout the country. It'll be really interesting to see where people land. With this whole new hybrid market where we're working, people are not feel obligated to stay within where they work. So you're starting to see a lot of migration into the rural or light rural slash suburban markets for affordability, whether renting or owning. And then one other article that caught my eye. Let's see here. Renter affordability stretched thin. I'll be posting this article to you today. This was a survey done by Redfin, found that slightly more than 1 in 5 U.S. renters, that's 22%, said all their regular income goes directly to paying their rent. In order to help make ends meet, working a second job was the most common, was cited for renters to pay housing costs, with 20% of the renters stating they held additional employment. Nearly the same share, 19%, said they have worked a job they hated and to afford their rent. So, very interesting article that will be posted up today for you guys to read and review and get some thoughts on that as well. Maybe I'll put a slight survey. So, tying into our subject today, emerging real estate trends for 2025. To me, it's just a growing focus on several key areas, driven by economic shifts, demographic changes, and technological advancements. And I put some strategies and thoughts together to see where people are thinking the market is going, and what their feelings are. And if anybody would like to raise their hand, by all means, please do so. Love to get your insight, whether it's a question or statement. Some emerging trends. I'm starting to see midterm rentals really popping up. I'm not kind of seeing it successfully. To me, the 1 year or 2 year lease is the model that I've always kind of went by. I don't think people want to move around. They don't want to see a transient type of environment. But again, traveling professionals, remote workers, and families relocating, I think midterm rental has to be looked at. Just you have to sit down with your attorney slash property manager to potentially put the right type of lease together that makes sense. I've always been a 1 year or 2 year lease kind of guy where I just know what I'm looking for. I'm looking at my market rent. I'm looking at Section 8 rents to make sure things are making sense. I'm also seeing a rise in build to rent communities. I'm seeing a lot of people not just building one families; they're looking at the 2 or 4 family opportunities. They see that where they can hold it out long term, get better rents, premier rents, uh, gaining a lot of traction, especially in the suburban areas. And affordability pressures make home ownership challenging for many. So I'm seeing this 2 to 4 family environment really kind of taking some momentum. On the mixed use developments, I'm a little concerned because I see a lot of empty rental space, retail, with a lot of apartments, especially in a market like Philadelphia. Seeing it also in like St. Louis, uh, uh, certain Carolina markets, certain Virginia markets, some certain New York State markets, New Jersey markets. I'm very concerned about the questionability. Can that commercial space support stay? Are we debt servicing that loan with the commercial space occupied or unoccupied? I'm real. I mean, right off the bat, when somebody calls me about a mixed use 2 unit, I'm automatically at 65% LTV. I drop automatically 10% when I'm looking at something, whether it's purchase or refinance. In a perfect world, okay. And then from a rehab perspective, it's very hard to identify money in the rehab construction space for mixed use right now, unless the loan amount's above $500,000, and then the client's got to qualify for that as well. I'm seeing industrial and logistics real estate, e-commerce boom continuing, warehouses, last mile, the distribution centers, data centers definitely remain a high value investment. And then there's obviously affordable housing projects, the Section 8 play. I'm seeing a lot of required presence to new multifamily development to have Section 8 requirements or rent control. Rent control is now approved in the county of Philadelphia. It's only like the second or third city to approve this, so it'll be very interesting to see how this all shakes out over the next 24 to 36 months from a from a home ownership perspective. Like if there's rent control, like I don't know if that's something that where it's going to be so appealing for people to stay in the city. And then obviously climate resilient properties. With all the storms we had and hurricanes, it'll be very interesting to see how the rebuilds look and how things are going to kind of shake themselves out. So those are some of the thoughts just to start off in emerging trends. We'll go to our moderators, of course. Mr. Ed Dowling, staying up here for the first time in a while. A little brief overview, who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion this morning, exploring economic trends. Ed, are you there? Mr. Ed Dowling going once. Mr. Ed Dowling going twice. Ed will be leaving the top of the room. Justin, good morning and welcome. Brief overview, who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion this morning, exploring economic trends 2025.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. My name is Justin. I'm down here in Southern Louisiana, market real estate investor, construction. These economic trends, man. Definitely, when you were speaking to different people, folks shifting to new construction, and I just, maybe not so much related to the economics of things, but related to where we are, as far as living situations, as far as the future lifespan of the property. I think that's the better investment. I think that the way people are spending, I think the information is out there, so they're looking to buy a better product, right? Or better product. So I think there are a lot of things that are correlating together along with their economic constraints that people have going on. I do believe I'm not so much in belief of the lack of spending ability because people have been, consistent with consumption, certain things, right? But I do believe that there's going to be a smarter spend going forward in the future, and I think that's another element to that.
You brought up really a great point that I've been talking with other peers of mine. This whole transition seems a little too easy. I have a concern about an economic downturn somewhere between the inauguration and sometime in the first or second quarter. I don't know where that shift will be. I feel it's going to be more in the commercial office retail space. I think it's hemorrhaging. I think there's a lot of companies that are out there, institutional companies, know that they have to repurpose a lot of these buildings. They're in the transition of that. There's a lot of money out there for that if it can be repurposed. Now, there's a lot of buildings that can't be repurposed. Like I'll give you an example. My wife and I went by a mall that is just about dead. Okay, I mean they got a couple stores left. I mean, unless they get medical office facilities in there and apartment living, that is a big white elephant. Like it's not going to go anywhere. Like the malls are not coming back. They're depleting. People are going extremely more virtual. So if the conversion's not already happening, it better happen very soon. I don't know how that's going to bleed out into the residential space. I had a great conversation with a very old friend of mine that she's selling her father's property up in my market, and she's asking top dollar for it, but it's a great market. I'm like, hey, how's the rents with all the new institutional building right in your area? There's like 1,000 new apartments. She goes, it's actually better. She goes, because not everybody can afford that Class A rental or B rental, and it's actually pushing more insight to my apartment building because we're a little more economical. We don't have all the amenities. We're not giving free coffee away. We don't have the gym, but they can sustain living below their means. And I said, it's pretty interesting. I said, are you getting market rent? I said, well, she's like, we're pretty close, but we're not trying to gouge people. We work with people. It's a little more personalized. They feel like these institutional multifamily developments are a little cold, remote, not present in the location. So like I have other colleagues that they live in an apartment building that they're down a block from the gym, they're down across the street from a store. They don't need that. They don't want all those luxuries and pay an extra $1,000 a month for it. So it's really going to depend on who's that person, how where they are in their income. Is it combined income? Is it or do they have some savings? Where the whole rental market's moving. But I'm going to give you some. I have identified some underrated real estate markets that can offer landlord opportunities for higher returns and growth potential. And this is based on some analysis and projections that I put together. These are 20 U.S. markets that are poised. I feel that you really can kind of understand why. Okay, number one is Rockford, Illinois. Affordable housing with median home prices around 250, monthly mortgage payments under 1,500, but good buy-in from an investor perspective. Akron, Ohio, Canton, Ohio, Dayton, Ohio. These are markets that have been kind of overshadowed by Columbus and Cincinnati. I think there's emerging top investment destination due to affordable housing, increasing demand, and low rental vacancies. Okay, the cost of living in association with sports is there. It's making it very appealing for real estate investors, and it offers proximity to major urban centers, attracting budget-conscious home buyers or renters. Detroit, Michigan is still up in that top 20. Columbus, Ohio is still there, even though it's kind of, I feel it's a little crested. I think a lot of East and West Coast money kind of came in on there. I really like Charleston, South Carolina. We're doing an event there in the spring with a group that's having an expo. New Orleans, Louisiana, kind of a renewed investor interest due to tourism and cultural allure, despite long-standing challenges. Cleveland, Ohio is in that top 20. Offers a stable economy and affordable real estate options. Got to be careful with your management and maintenance. You got Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania is up in the top 20. St. Louis, Missouri, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I like affordable housing and growing economy, attracting investors. I'm looking at Minneapolis, Minnesota could be a turnaround. I like Rochester and Buffalo, New York a lot. Affordable housing, steady rental demand, revitalization efforts, and affordable properties. Birmingham, Alabama. I'm going to be down there in the springtime. Memphis, Tennessee's got a couple problems there, crime-wise, but I think high rental yields and affordable housing attracts investors. Little Rock, Arkansas is another affordable market with growth potential. Des Moines, Iowa, and Indianapolis, Indiana. These offer affordable and growing rental markets. These markets present opportunities for landlords seeking undervalued properties with growth potential. However, it's essential to conduct your own thorough research and consider local economic factors before investing. Some other markets that are more top tier: Dallas, Texas; Houston, Texas, very diversified economy; Tampa, St. Pete's; Nashville, Tennessee; Miami, Florida. Miami's got its own set of problems with vacancies and stuff with the condo market. Raleigh, Durham; Charlotte, North Carolina; Phoenix, Arizona; Indianapolis; Kansas City; Columbus and Cleveland, Ohio, again is in that market, that analysis. Loving, Las Vegas, that surrounding area of Las Vegas. Atlanta, Georgia, I think is a major business hub attracting professionals and families. Salt Lake, steady growth. I'm going out there in the springtime, check that market out a little bit. San Antonio has always been very steady with rental demand due to affordability and military presence. So we'll go to one of our ladies in the room first, our Rose Amongst the Thorns, Miss Dee Page. Good morning. Welcome. Brief overview, who you are, what you do, and thoughts to exploring economic trends.
Joe. It's great to be on the stage with you. Normally Sunday mornings are pretty busy for me, so I just try to lurk there in the audience. But had a minute this morning. So for the room, I'm Donna Page, known as D here on the app. I'm a long-term investor. We basically operate long-term, short-term, and mid-term rentals around the country, based here in Milwaukee. So Joe, I thought this was such an incredible topic this morning because we are seeing economic trends start to really impact the rental markets in the states and areas that we invest in right now. I'm just watching right now. I can't say that I have a tremendous amount of expertise to lend to the conversation because we're just sort of learning about what's happening or paying attention to what's happening in the market. We are seeing, particularly in the Midwest here, where we've done incredibly well with acquisitions and really nice rental rate returns. We're seeing some softening in the pricing, acquisition pricing, but we're still really strong on rentals. So as an investor, we're trying to buy smart, remodel a lot of these units, bring them up to snuff because there's, the market is just moving in that direction. So, but we are seeing people a little more conscientious in their housing dollar. So they're not as quick to go for those higher end units with all of the amenities, the bells and whistles, as they were, a few years back when money was flowing freely. I think that settling in around that Class B asset, we're seeing a tremendous amount of activity there. People are, looking for safe housing that won't stretch their budgets as much. So I guess my view is more ground floor, not quite as bird's eye yet. We're still, like I said, taking a look at things, but it's very interesting to see, or just to kind of watch where the market goes. But thanks for having me.
Dee, thank you. And I know you and I had a pretty deep discussion about the Milwaukee market and Wisconsin as a whole. What's your thoughts of migration, which was very heavy from Illinois coming into Wisconsin? Section 8. I mean, is single family through four family still the play in that Milwaukee market? Is it expanding into other areas of Wisconsin, such as like Eau Claire, Appleton, Green Bay, Sheboygan? What's your thoughts? I mean, is there jobs in these areas to justify the rental migration still, or is it slowed down a little bit, or is it just very congested all in Milwaukee right now?
Migration prices across the state are still up. People are looking, especially when they're coming in from some of the bigger cities, the Chicago's, that metro area. They're looking for a slower lifestyle. There are jobs currently that support the migration, which is good, which keeps the rental market nice and strong. But on the affordable housing side, I think, that's from an investor perspective, that is a play that I really encourage people to look at because there's still tremendous opportunity. There are a lack of quite frankly, really nice properties that will still cash flow really nicely. So there's a real opportunity there for those of us who are investors, who are conscientious investors, who would like to provide a nice product on the market rate side. Though there's still, we have a really old housing stock, but as you get outside of the city, it's very, very, very well maintained for the most part because the rental, most of the stock has been home ownership year over year. So usually those properties are well maintained. They're usually really good investments to get in. Hope that answers your question.
It answers it really well. Thank you, Dave, for being present in our room this morning. And real estate investing in 2025 is expected to be, shape up in several key trends driven by economic conditions, technological advancements as well, shifting consumer preferences. People there's definitely a group of demographic that likes having the grocery store downstairs, the other shopping stores downstairs, and living upstairs, and there's a gym, and then there's a workspace area. They want all of it there. They want the garden walk area for their pets upstairs, the pool inside or outside. They want these things. And they're going to pay for them. Okay, and then there's the people that don't really need all that. They're more simpleton, and they just kind of just want a place that they feel like it's their home. And I think that single family residential through four family residential is going to stay very strong. I mean, I had one client alone buying 3 properties at the same time, fixed to rent. And then he's going to renovate them. He's at $30,000-$40,000 renovation costs, buying them for about $125. Values are $210 to $250. Rent it out for the market rent, and he's going to hold them. And when he gets to a certain income level, he's going to leave his job. He's going to substitute his rental income once he gets to 30 to 40 properties. At 17 now. He gets to 30 to 40 properties. He knows he can afford to make that move where he could just manage his properties out, right? The remote, or he just do more remote work. He could become a 1099 individual instead of a W-2, and have that influence and have just more flexibility to expand his market. And I don't think he's not as driven on interest rates and the market dynamics as the average investor. He's looking, hey, I'm going to make $500 a door on this property. Whether the rate's 6% or 9%, I'm still going to make $500 a month. I'm still not going to have a lot of money in or no money in when it's time to refinance because the appraisal justifies the comps in the area. The rental market supports the debt service coverage ratio. And it's another property to add to my portfolio where I'm just that much closer to substituting my W-2 to my independent way of living as a real estate professional. Travis, good morning and welcome. Brief overview, who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion this morning, Exploring Economic Trends 2025.
Hey, thanks, Joe. Hey, I'm going to just listen in for a while.
Okay.
Come back to the board.
No problem. I appreciate your presence. Thank you very much. And we'll go to Mr. Sushin, long time no see. Brief overview, who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion this morning, Exploring Economic Trends in 2025.
Hey, Joe. Good morning. Sushin Mansoor from the DC metro area. Primarily invest in small multi-units in Pittsburgh. Have about 20 doors, and then just do a few flips there as well. But yeah, I mean, I think to what you were saying, right, what I've seen is, especially in the Pittsburgh market, right, I'm looking at Section 8. There's a huge demand. The rents are, in most cases higher than even market rent. And if you spend a decent amount of money in rehab and give them a good place, most folks love it and take care of it, right? So I've had no problems in finding, folks to rent that out. I think the market there is still pretty good. Prices have gone up. But the one point that you made about during COVID we saw a lot of migration and people going. I think with the new administration things are changing, and I feel like at least in the government sector here, most people are going to be having to go back to work, right? Come in 5 days a week. I recently switched contracts. One of the first things they told us was like, hey, we need everybody here 5 days a week. So I see that as being, I think, the biggest change coming, in the near future, right? Same thing with Amazon. Amazon asking everybody to come into work. So I think that will play a big part, especially with folks who kind of moved away over the last few years. I think that'll be a big thing to watch out.
Yeah, I mean, I think the DMV market is kind of flat right now, not in the sense of a opportunity from a landlord perspective. I think the buy-in is a little high. I still like the greater Pittsburgh area. You just got to be careful with Pittsburgh. Downtown Pittsburgh's a little deceiving. Like, after 5 o'clock, it's gone back to not so nice. It was getting really nice, and then post-COVID, it just never recovered fully, like a lot of other cities. A lot of retail office space issues there. I think you got to be concerned about how far out you go from Pittsburgh itself, Pittsburgh proper, because you got to be careful of rural markets. You got to be more concerned about staying in the suburban markets, and to stay ahead of the real estate market in 2025. I think smaller landlords, they need to adopt proactive strategies and leveraging emerging trends. Right, you got to stay updated on market trends, local market analysis, focusing on hyper local data, including vacancy rates, rental demand, and property appreciation in your target areas, and national trends, right? You want to kind of see what's going on nationally. Keep an eye on housing policy changes, economic shifts, interest rate trends. For instance, how inflation or new regulations might impact affordability and demand. Then diversifying your portfolio, looking at the geographic diversification, considering investing in different cities or neighborhoods to reduce risk from localized downturns. And then obviously leveraging technology with property management tools, market and analytics tools, some smart technology options like smart locks or thermostats or security systems to enhance tenant experience and property value. Focus on tenant retention, offer perks, build some strong relationships, effective communication and timely maintenance, optimizing financing, understanding refinancing. We're having a course January 11th, all-day workshop at my offices in Philadelphia on asset-based lending fundamentals 2025. We're probably going to have a small happy hour on that Friday night, that 10th, and then the 11th, it's an all-day discussion. We might do some touring of some rehab properties as well, just to kind of understand how to break down construction, BRRRR strategies, some off-market opportunities. And you have to understand how to get in and how to get out and how to stabilize. So you got to have those discussions with a lender. I'm not saying it has to be with me, but somebody that you have a relationship with, because then there's a tax plan on the back end, and then understanding what your reserves need to look like as well. And then adapting to regulatory changes, monitoring zoning laws, rent control policies. Rent control is now present. It was a discussion, now it's here in Philadelphia. The Landlord Association in Philadelphia did absolutely nothing to stop it. I mean, they're present, they bitched and moaned, but rent control is now here. So now you're going to see a whole change in short-term regulations, mid-term regulations in the city, and then home ownership is going to wane. Stay compliant by maintaining updated licenses and insurances. Market effectively, digital presence and branding. Like we're going through an entire branding reset with my brand, with Perkatech's brand, with Yardell Perkins, our video work, our brand outside Google business. There's so much stuff that we're spending money on because we see that if we don't do this, our brands get stale. So, as a landlord, you need to stay present as a landlord. If you're going to enhance your presence, reputation, you got to be very concerned. Then you also have to keep staying out there and networking and learning. So recently, we just affiliated with the Dealmakers group out of Richmond, Virginia, with Jim Ingersoll. We are now Elite Dealmakers Philadelphia with my second Monday of the month event that we're holding. We're having something up in Lehigh Valley the second Wednesday of every month. We're having a South Jersey chapter the first Monday every month. We're having a different type of other, connecting opportunities for health and for lending. We're doing all kinds of things going into the new year. So if you don't know about a lot of these events, please let me know and I'll send you the information. We have a couple great holiday parties coming up on the 19th in Lehigh Valley, and then on the 20th, which is a Friday night in Philadelphia. So if you want to fly in and stay for the weekend, we're going to have a great event Friday night on the 20th, because you got to be comfortable with people and you got to learn from as smart people as possible in different markets to see if it all makes sense, right? You got to also prepare for economic shifts, building flexibility into your rental agreements, allowing you how to adjust rents or lease terms based on market conditions, keeping an eye on the employment trends. Did anybody take a look at the jobless claims that were out this past week? Again, not trying to make you feel pressured, but you need to know what those numbers look like. How is that going to impact your bottom line? By staying proactive, informed, and adaptive, small landlords can navigate and capitalize on real estate trends in 2025 and beyond. These are tailored strategies you need to think of whatever market that you're in. Stephen, good morning and welcome. Brief overview, who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion, Exploring Economic Trends 2025.
Yeah, Joe, thanks. I'm Steve Franco. I'm a broker, investor, landlord up here, and I run our REI homepage. And for those of you who want to, Joe's being nice enough to come up to our event December 3rd and do the asset-based lending training informational, and we are going to be streaming that. So if you're interested in signing up, we have it on Eventbrite. I'll throw it on the group. I think the emerging trends are, again, I'm in a secondary, tertiary market up here. And separately, Joe, if you want to do a deal maker maybe in Hazleton, I think there might be need for that up here. But I think that the emerging trends up here are really not so emerging. I think it's going to get a little more into adaptive reuse, or a lot more into adaptive reuse of properties. It's going to get a lot more into, I think it's going to stay very much affordable housing and new construction. And actually, surprisingly to me, our friend Mike has been doing great in new construction of rather high-end properties in the Poconos and so forth, which I've very much this area is very much been an affordable market for me. But I think really for us, it's adaptive reuse of old buildings. I'm looking at a local mall, looking at a couple local churches, trying to see what we can do to convert them into small mid cap, small mid volume, or small not so small properties. And I think that the transitional housing, midterm housing, is also a growing sector because for many of us it's easy to say the economy is this and we want that, but there's also a large number of people. The affordable people know what they want and that's fine. But in the transitional housing sector, these are people that don't have as much want. They have a need. They're coming out of something, whatever, whether it be prison or rehab or whatever. They have a need. The state is paying for their need. And for housing, for affordable, for reasonable. So I think a lot of it, I think the emerging trends up here are more a matter of adaptive reuse and also looking at that sort of affordable range and also looking at the sort of upper end. And really for us, the commercial stuff, self-storage is still great, medical, a couple other sectors, convenience is through the roof. My convenience clients can't keep up with it, can't keep up with how much they can buy. But really for us up here, I don't see offices, I don't see malls. Our local mall, I was shocked. They got like 12 stores left, and they're still putting out the huge 70s style Santa Christmas. And I'm like, but there's only 12 stores. Why are you bothering?
Yeah.
So I think finding something to do with those white elephants, which I'm looking at this one as possibly a storage play. So I think for me, it's adaptive reuse, at least locally. And I'm starting to look at other markets too. Because Scranton we're still a great market to invest in, but we've gotten pretty expensive. So that's kind of what I have on that topic.
Steve, I appreciate that insight. And, I'm going to tie in a little adaptive reuse. This is the process of repurposing existing buildings for new uses. It's expected to remain a significant trend in real estate in 2025. As we approach and address sustainability, urban renewal, and market demand for unique spaces, conversion of office spaces to residential are big drivers. Example like New York, Chicago, and San Francisco are leading in converting outdated office towers into apartments and mixed-use developments. And the rise of remote and hybrid work has left many office buildings underutilized, and particularly in urban centers. Repurposing retail spaces. The decline of traditional brick and mortar retail accelerated by e-commerce has created opportunities to transform malls and big box stores. Common uses, mixed-use spaces combining residential, retail, and community facilities, warehousing or fulfillment centers, hotel to housing conversions. I'm in the middle of 7 of those from a financing and ownership perspective. Reasoning underperforming hotels in urban and tourist areas are being repurposed to address affordable housing shortages and serve as workforce housing. It's happening. Okay? The Indian Asian market that came here 50 to 60 years ago has aged out. Their children don't want these properties. They're selling these properties, and people are coming in, converting these motels into Section 8 housing. The towns are allowing it because it's not impacting the educational environment for their schools because it's only with Studio 1 bedrooms. And they're going toward the military Section 8 or standard Section 8. So really a unique opportunity out there for motel conversions. They like it. It's a good way of turning units over and getting the properties into a better tax base for the townships. Another area you want to look at, industrial spaces becoming creative hubs, artist studios, event venues, boutique hotels, loft-style apartments. Some hotspots are Detroit, Michigan, and St. Louis, Missouri. I'm seeing like a lot of these like Knights of Columbuses and American Legions and VFWs, and these they're not staying up, or there's not enough people in those areas. They're being converted to banquet halls and facilities and co-working spaces. Another big area, historic preservation with modern functionality. Historical preservation opportunities. There's sustainability-driven projects. There's healthcare and wellness facilities. I just toured an apartment, a multifamily building that has all type of wellness facilities within the building. So you can get a hyperbaric chamber, you can get cryo, you can get massage, Reiki, all in the same building, and live there. So big movement in the healthcare and wellness facilities. Some blurring the lines between uses multifunctional spaces that serve multi-purposes, live, work, and play is still out there. Just got to be concerned about who's going to take up the office space, the retail space, like stores and things of that nature. And then some challenges here, and innovations are zoning and regulatory challenges. And will modular interior and smart build technology adapt to spaces more efficiently in 2025? And will the lenders be behind it? Is the question of the day. Amy, good morning and welcome. Thanks for coming in. Brief overview of who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion, Exploring Economic Trends 2025.
Good morning, Joe. Thanks for having me, as always. I'm Amy Palvido. I am a longtime real estate investor, recent prop tech founder, like the last 5 years. I started my company 5 years ago, and I'm also the chair of the U.S. Prop Tech Council, which is the real estate technology trade association in the United States. So I'm on the forefront of everything that's happening in regards to technology and real estate. So I like to pop in these rooms and help as much as I can. Exploring economic trends, I would say, real estate, obviously we're in a recessionary time. I don't know when we get out of it. We're hoping and praying that, I don't listen to the pundits because I don't think most people, they truly understand what Jerome Powell's going to do. And that's where real estate is going to really can't get out of it where we are now until we kind of work through our supply issues, work through these inflationary pressures, work through, just ease off the interest rates a little bit. But we just can't blame. You can't just blame Jerome Powell. I mean, it's there's other things happening. I mean, we have had supply issues on the housing side since 2018. Like we were barely keeping up, and then when COVID happened, we just threw a big wrench in the gears, and so now we're just behind, and now we can't keep up because nothing is penciling out. So from a housing perspective, I think that's what's happening. But I will say the opportunities that lie ahead are in data centers. There is a 2% vacancy rate for data centers, and we cannot get enough of those. So if you were looking at, if you have an office property, they can't all convert to data centers because lots of reasons, but there's structural load requirements, there's other things like that. But if you have land that has available power, there's probably a data center buyer for you. And so you have to kind of look at, there's lots of different things, and it's kind of complex, but it's all about available power. So if you have something like 100 megawatts that can come to your land, if you can talk with your utility provider and you can get 100 megawatts to the land site, that basically is worth $1 million to you. So or even more. So it just kind of depends on the pricing. But I will say data centers are, recession proof. They'll figure it out. They've got so much money flowing to them. The other thing would be on the medical side. Anything like hospital healthcare real estate is doing just fine. There's always going to be sick people. And medical offices more than hospitals are even better because there's this sprawl happening in the United States where people are living, the highest growth rates are people living about 60 miles out from a city center. And there's the majority of the things that you could do in a medical office, you really don't need to go to a hospital anymore. Unless you just absolutely have to have some sort of emergency surgery. You can get most things, even like MRIs and x-rays and all these different things in these medical office facilities that pretty much they can handle about 90 to 95% of the healthcare now. And so those are really also another thing. So and not every office building, talking about reuse, can turn into a medical office building because of elevator shafts and different things like that. So you have to have an elevator that can fit a gurney. So you have to do a little bit of work on those, but those will definitely be recession proof. Those two are like the hottest real estate things that are happening right now. And then once the the mortgage rates come down and housing will pick back up, we still have a housing shortage. So I think we're sitting pretty good. If you're a newer investor and you are just now learning, you're coming in at the right time because you're going to need to spend over the next 18 months to 24 months learning your craft, at least so you can be pretty good when you start, when you start actually investing. And by learning your craft, I mean, you're out there making offers, you're out there, underwriting deals, you're going to make, and no joke, I don't know why everybody thinks this, but you make an offer and everybody thinks, well, if I make an offer, I'm going to get the property. Oh, hell no. You're not, you're probably make 100 offers before you get a property. So just go through the process. I think it's probably the best thing. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Those are my thoughts, Joe.
Well, thank you there, Amy. What do we got coming up for the PropTech Council in 2025 first quarter? I know we're leading into.
Yeah, so excited. We have a lot of coming up in 2025. So 2024 was our inaugural year. We spent it growing our membership. We have over almost 1,000 members now. 2025 is really going to be our big event year. So we have our master event, our annual event, which will be in Austin at South by Southwest. We'll probably have a couple thousand people there. And that's going to be, panels around robots and space tech turning into prop tech and data and AI centers and just consulting around AI and how it's impacting real estate. And then we're supporting the development of new technology. So we have the hackathon series that we're going to be hosting around the U.S. So if you guys are the idea people. So you're the practitioners in real estate working in it every day. If you have ideas for a new technology, let me know because we're going to have these hackathons where you can come and pick your idea and we'll match you up with a dev team. And in 2 days, you will have a design or prototype of your idea. If you've been working in the real estate industry longer than 5 years, you probably got an idea for something the real estate industry needs. And so that's my pitch to you. So we will have those in 5 locations next year. And then eventually, as we build out our local chapters of the U.S. PropTech Council, which we're starting those next year too, we've got 8 cities that are forming local chapters now. Each chapter will be able to host a hackathon. We really just want to spur any sort of new innovation in the industry. So those are our major events. We also have all these invitation-only events. If you're a member, we're hosting in January. We have a new group called PropTech Women, really trying to support women founders. So we're hosting an event in Miami at the end of January. We're doing a lot of things, and that's the whole goal of the trade association is just to host a ton of events. So yeah.
Good stuff. I mean, last question before I go on for some other thoughts. Where do you think PropTech is going to have the biggest impact on the single family through 4 family space for the small landlord or someone that has a 5 through say 15 unit multi-family small balance loan under $1 million? Where is the biggest impact of PropTech in 2025?
I think for the smaller unit, it's really gonna be there's already existing tech out there now. If you're not using the tech that's available to you now to basically remote manage your apartments, you're really probably not taking advantage of everything that exists today. But there's going to be more things around like smart home sensoring, so you can really get a good sense of what's happening on your properties at any moment in time. From a do you have people that are? I mean, you can basically stop pretty much every fire and every water leak on your property today if you just deployed IoT sensors in your property. And it's not that expensive. Less than $1,000 a unit, you can deploy these things and that will take away about 90% of your fires and pretty much all of your water leaks. And if you did that, you can get that money back on your insurance. I mean, insurance companies are actively looking for people deploying these IoT devices. And then you'll also have the ability to do remote monitoring of, I mean, you'll know who's coming in and out of your properties if you really want to know. It depends on how you structure your access controls. And, not having to do walkouts anymore. You don't have to do that. Just put a keypad on the door. You don't have to do that anymore. And then, if you can build out all these amenities that you can charge for, that can be ancillary streams of income that people are dying to have. Like, even if you had a 15-unit property, people want Amazon offers. Or have some way to get their packages that aren't left at the door so people can steal them. I mean, there's just a lot of different things. Parking, like, you can make money off of your parking lot. I mean, you can do all sorts of things with technology today that you could not do before. And as it goes forward, with the advent of AI, there's just going to be more and more things that you're going to be able to do from a marketing perspective, from managing your property, just kind of using AI, managing your lease renewals, understanding where you should be pricing things. I mean, it's going to become really, really easy to manage property probably in the next couple of years. And we're doing a study right now around how the difference between a property being managed appropriately with technology and ones that are not, and what's the difference in returns. We have that study ongoing now. And I guess I'll also plug my book. I have a book coming out. It's called The AI Expert Real Estate Investor, and it should be published on Amazon by December. And that it really kind of goes through all of this, where we're explaining, okay, these are the AI tools you should be using to help you do market selection, to help you manage your property, to help you, do all of those things, how you, impact in the lending space, all these different things. There's a lot of AI tools out there that exist today, and so that should be coming out in December on Amazon, and I'm really excited about that too.
Congratulations, Amy, and I really appreciate you giving some really additional insight this morning where we're discussing exploring economic trends. And I look forward to seeing your schedule coming up in 2025.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. So some secondary real estate, like the secondary real estate market trend as well. This ties into what Amy was discussing, Stephen was discussing, Sushin was discussing, Justin. There's an increasing attention due to affordability and population growth, lifestyle changes, several trends that you really want to keep an eye out for in the secondary real estate markets: continued migration to affordable markets, growth in rental demand, infrastructure and urban developments, tech and job growth hubs, revitalization of urban centers, increased interest in smaller multifamily properties. Short and midterm rentals will be it'll start moving around a little more depending on how this all shifts and shape shifts. Shifting towards suburban and ex-urban growth, appeal to retirees, environmental sustainability considerations. These trends in the secondary markets will continue to attract investors and home buyers in 2025, offering lower costs and solid growth opportunities compared to saturated primary markets. Kazi, good morning and welcome. Brief overview who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion this morning, exploring economic trends.
Joe, what's going on, my man?
Good.
How you doing this morning?
Very well.
Awesome. Thanks for always having these consistent rooms, man. When you start the clubhouse, you always kept these rooms going. So I'll definitely shout out to you, Joe. Yeah. So yeah, I'm definitely seeing a lot of different trends out there in terms of affordable housing. When COVID hit, COVID definitely I think changed the landscape. Everything, of course, has definitely had an impact, on affordable housing, right? And particularly, the cost in construction, right? Materials, labor, on top of the demand, right, for sustainable building, over the last few years had increased. So now, we're starting to see a lot of different governments, creating a lot of local mechanisms, instead of, kind of waiting on the federal government. They started to create just a lot of local mechanisms. So we see it in a lot of states that we play in, particularly, Wisconsin. I'm pretty sure every state, but we're doing stuff in a few different states: Wisconsin, Arizona, Nevada, Indiana, Arkansas. don't know if I said Nevada or not, but regardless, we just see a lot of local mechanisms being developed, which is actually pretty cool. So those are other sources, we can layer on top of the, existing sources that they've already received from the federal government and for, tax credits and any mortgage, we can attract. So that's definitely that's something that's been a great, add to the affordable housing product. Even at the federal level, though, they have released some other mechanisms like the greenhouse gas reduction funds, which is actually out now, and a lot of some folks are already started deploying the greenhouse gas reduction funds, for sustainable building. So that's like every state almost has at least like $2 billion, to give out, and this is going to be a rolling program. So this program is not going anywhere, any time soon. Same as the Solar for All, that the federal government released. These are all other mechanisms, for affordable housing. So that's pretty good, good as well, right? Those additional resources. Of course, we because of the demand of affordable housing was crazy. We've been seeing a lot of demand for senior housing. Like everybody is asking for, senior housing and family housing, even getting into the 4-bed rooms. So we starting to see that a lot from our government, partners, asking for more senior housing than family housing. And because of that, they're of course, everybody's aware of the zoning reform that's going on across the country. So a lot of cities are, experimenting with, different zoning changes to allow for more affordable housing, more density. So of course, that's a good thing. Even reducing the time it takes to even get through that process. Like some cities might already have it zoned for you already. Especially if it's a city-owned land, county-owned land, government land, it might be already zoned, or if it's privately owned, just kind of reducing like that again, that overall timeline and trying to streamline it as much as possible. I mean, prime example, just recently, I'm in the process of closing this development, and I kind of I kind of missed up to my something that had expired. I had to change the zoning about a year ago. Not the zone, I had to get a conditional variance and special use. I don't know, realize it expired, about a year ago, or at least a month ago. But I only had a year for that. And I had to renew it again. And for example, like it usually takes 3-4 months to get through that process again. I was able to get through that process like literally like less than a month. Even the first time I was able to get that through less than a month. That's like an example of the government trying to streamline the process as much as possible, even reducing fees, costs, or even costs, just try to keep construction or overall development costs as low as possible. So and definitely seeing some other things like more technology things around modular fabricated housing. Which I'm not really a fan of modular, but that's another conversation for another day. Mm-hmm. We're starting to see government too asking for smart cities. Some stuff Amy was talking about with the smart technology. To improve like energy efficiency. Reducing things, reducing like your operational costs, just making it easier for developers to develop affordable, sustainable housing solutions, right? So we definitely see government, asking for that, and just even some of the resources that are here again are more for those kind of smart cities or housing solutions around technology and smart cities, to develop. And then, of course, we're still seeing global economic pressures on affordable housing as well. So that's always going to be a factor, right? There's always going to be internal and external, factors, right? Like, first, inflation is still here. Maybe, of course, down from its height, right, of COVID, but just saying, currency fluctuations, around it, the global market, affects things as well. And so, we just trying to stay, watching what's going on globally, just so we can kind of adapt or, reanalyze as we need to. So, but I know that was a lot, Joe. But again, I think it's a good topic, and there's definitely a lot happening out there. And just excited about this. Really, this 2025 got a lot of stuff going on, and looking forward to a lot of these, new resources we have out here.
Thanks, Kazim. I appreciate the insight. Personal development in 2025 is shaped by advancements in technology, shifts in workplace dynamics, and growing awareness of mental and physical well-being. Integration of AI in personal growth, I think, is going to be so important. If you're not accepting AI and Like I'm putting most of my events together through AI. They're doing most of the work for me. Focus on emotional intelligence, okay? Online courses and workshops for emotional regulation and effective communication, micro learning, holistic health and wellness. Like today, I'm getting a complete body scan at a wellness center to make sure I'm taking all the right things and doing all the right things to stay one, healthy, and two, focused. Reskilling and upskilling for the future of work. Like today, I'm going to have a discussion with Yardell. We're going to go over social media. Where are we at this week? What do we not? What is not addressed, and what do we need to get up to pace with what we're doing from the podcast perspective, from the branding perspective, from event perspective? What are we not doing? Getting other people involved and getting them excited as well. Mindful living and networking community opportunities. You need to create your own network. If you're feeling like you're left out because whatever the case may be, is have your own event. Tie in with a couple other people and just grow an event out. That's what I'm doing. And then I'm real big into habit stacking and habits. And staying financially literate to where the market is. You got to detox too as well. You got to take care of your health, your mindset. Take some time to just meditate, get a massage, whatever you got to do to just relax, right? And self expression and creativity. Hang out with creative people, getting ideas, masterminding. Create a mastermind. We have a mastermind here every month. We want people involved. We don't want people to be timid. We want people to be lions, lionesses. That's key. And that's where I think a lot of these trends are going to kind of come together in 2025. Let's get some final brief thought. Stephen, why don't you give me a brief thought and an exit thought brief to exploring economic trends 2025.
Yeah, I think that the interesting part about economic trends, my first question is how many of these local state affordability programs, how much do you think the Trump administration is going to change the spending on those categories? Because a lot of us who are aiming at affordable transitional are looking at that. And it's funny, separate to that, my other thought is, Amy mentioned data centers. It's very easy to forget the quiet industries like data centers, like the high-tech people. My little area out here is basically Wall Street West technology. We don't have the offices, we have tech. And don't miss those. I put in 2 or 3, or help put in rather 2 or 3 Bitcoin mining centers. Don't miss those under-noticed things that just kind of happen. Connect with the people who are doing them if you can.
Steve, thank you. I really look forward to our event coming up in December. So I'm going to just do a quick little overview of events that we're having coming up in December that, if you can make it, that'd be great. We'd love to see you there. I think it's important to network and connect with people. December 3rd, we're in Scranton, Pennsylvania, providing education on asset-based lending fundamentals. We have a deal or no deal. December 2nd, which is Monday, the first Monday. First Tuesday is obviously with Steve in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Then we're going to be December 8th. We're going to be in Newark, New Jersey with the Sub 2 group. Great little event we're going to have at a coffee shop. About 50 of us are going to be masterminding. And then on the 9th, we have a cigar event in the evening from 6 to 8 down in Atlantic City at Triple Play. Then on the Triple Play. Then I think we have obviously our Lehigh Valley holiday party on the 19th. And then our holiday party on December 20th in Philadelphia if you want to come for the weekend. And then we already have scheduled now first Monday in January, Health is Wealth in Real Estate. We're having a big event at the Restore Wellness in Marlton, New Jersey. And then we're having the asset-based lending course January 11th. All day, we're going to have a whole breakfast and lunch sponsored by Lenmark Capital. We'll probably do a small happy hour Friday night. So if you guys can make it for the weekend, we're going to have a great educational discussion on asset-based lending, full-blown class, teach you how to white label market yourself to be a broker or a correspondent with a lender such as Lenmark Capital, understand worksheets, understand how to pencil deals down to be that better real estate professional. So we're going to be very consistent in what we're providing in education, networking, and strategy. I'm very excited about our new alliance with our Philadelphia chapter with deal makers out of Richmond, Virginia, with Jim Ingersoll. I interviewed with a bunch of other groups, and I thought they made the most sense and the most integrous. So I look forward to that new relationship going into January, going into the new year. And my thought, and we're going to be here every Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll do some holiday discussions. So this Thanksgiving, we got an overview discussion on 9 a.m. on Thanksgiving, Thursday morning. And then my quote this morning, do something today that your future self will thank you for. So I'd like put some thought into that. And I want everybody to have a wonderful week. We'll be here on Thanksgiving, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then next Sunday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time as well. I want to thank our sponsors. I want to thank Lenmar Capital. I want to thank Percatech. I want to thank Realty 411, and I want to thank MB Capital. Without them, we wouldn't have that support and backing and putting this event out. We're now in our second season. We crushed it with 80 episodes on the first season. So look forward to season number 2 with the Creative Birth Strategy podcast. You can find all our podcasts on creativebirthstrategies.com. This is Joe Screese, co-founder, and co-host of the Creative Birth Strategies House and podcast. I want to thank everybody again. And I'll be ending the room in the next 30 seconds. And thank you.